It is 8:30, it's time for the weekly meeting of the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors. We have an agenda in front of us. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections?
There's one addition, county care request of funds.
Under what?
Put that right after 8. 8A,
And that was county care?
request of funds.
Okay.
That is it? I move to approve the agenda as amended.
I will second that motion.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. Valid project update, Rustin, you're up.
Rustin Lincoln, the Kobe. First, I guess, is just the tanks. There's, of the 5 tanks, 3 of them are fully completed now, the smaller 3. I don't know if you guys drive by it at all or not.
No, we're not allowed.
Oh, pretty hard to miss, but those 3 are done. The 2 big ones are still working on. They're doing the roofs right now for them. I guess if you drove by, you'd see that too. But yeah, they should. They'll just keep plugging away on them until they get the large ones done and move on from there. But they're doing pretty good. They look like they're really nice tanks. So the next thing I guess would be is on February 4th, the city's going to approve the wastewater treatment facility report or plan and the anti-degradation report to go into the DNR, and that's all part of the permitting process. So once that gets going, then we can start with the plans and specs actually going down to them right afterwards. So really, the last I talked with Tom, we're kind of shooting for mid-March, I guess, on the bid letting. I don't know if he's told you that or not, with the project or with his updates that he's been giving.
I think, was speaking of the last weeks of February, but maybe it's moved into March now or something.
Yeah, I thought he said 1st of March, but.
Okay, and that permitting that you just talked about, that doesn't have anything to do with our pre-treatment,
No, because the pre-treatment is,
standalone.
yes, that does not require any permitting with that. That's the easy one of the 2. So we'll just keep plugging away at it. It's going pretty well, so hopefully we can get this thing out and get everything going, because I think it was the end of 14, they're 100% startup, right? And a lot of the equipment at the wastewater facility itself has got about a 6-month lead time on it, so as soon as we can get that thing going, get all the submittals in for it, and then we can get the shop drawings approved and get them out so they can get it built. Because then if they can get a lot of the construction done through the summer months, and then the equipment comes in the fall, they can start putting that stuff in throughout the winter time, and then next summer get all the finish up stuff that they didn't get done this year. That's the plan anyway, so hopefully it goes well.
Are they planning on being operational by April of 14 or not that soon?
The wastewater treatment facility?
No, the entire facility.
That I don't know.
Okay,
I haven't heard anything on that.
I
okay.
think that was December of 14, but then December of 14, I think
Oh,
it
really?
has to be up and running, but I think there'll be some testing going on through the summer.
Tom just said that they were gonna do, I think it's maybe 1 fermenter. It's gonna start in the spring of 14. And that's very little flow. The plant right now can handle that flow. And then after that, I thought he said August or September. Maybe that was a completion, and then it was, they would be 100% right after that. And that's all subject to change too. You just never know. It all looks good right now on paper.
That's exactly right.
So that's about all I really got for you this week.
So when do you estimate the 2 big tanks to be done? Or
I haven't even heard on that. The other 3 went up pretty fast, but they're the small ones, so who really knows? They had stainless steel domes on top of them, and the big ones are getting aluminum because of the span. The large span, they need the weight gets to be too much with stainless. So I would say if the weather stays favorable, probably not that long. Month and a half maybe. But they're doing pretty well. Never really worked with them, but they seem to be doing really well.
anything else for Rustin?
No, I don't have anything. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
No problem. Hopefully Tom can make it to the next one.
Okay. Yeah,
We'll
thank
see you guys.
Yep. County Attorney, Mark Rock, you're up.
Oh, a couple things. Floodplain ordinance amendment, which is actually the resolution amendment. I'm not doing anything. I've talked to Mark Ross. He said he was taking care of it, so I'm just gonna assume unless someone says something to me that it's being taken care of. That Title VI non-discrimination agreement, I know that, was it Rich that was going to check into other counties and see what they were doing and perhaps see if we could get, a bunch of us to go together and hire someone. Maybe you can ask him where he is on that.
He said he's gonna be the coordinator for that.
Okay.
He wasn't here last week either, so.
Okay.
That's why we appointed him.
Well,
I guess he's gonna take that on to begin with. and
Okay.
Both counties and then.
okay, yeah, I'm not so concerned about the coordinator. What I'm
Okay.
concerned about is, where is it? Oh, he's gonna be the Title VI coordinator, okay? So he's gonna do all the things that they're supposed to do,
Supposedly,
okay?
that's what
So
his
he's-
plan was 2 weeks ago.
Okay. I'll maybe send him an email, and see where we are on it. I think that this other stuff is private work. I don't know if I was supposed to be here at 9:30 today for that public hearing, but I've got a phone hearing at 9:30 and a phone hearing at 10:30 today, which I just absolutely can't get out of, so.
Well, you're supposed to justify why you need a increase in your budget.
Yes, I bet.
What?
We can guess, I bet.
Well, I said, I just did a straight 2% on everything except the copying and,
No,
this
that's
is the
budget
amendment.
amendment. The
This
budget
this is
amendment.
budget amendment.
oh, this is budget amendment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is.
Oh, I don't have an amendment.
Yeah, right.
Well, you're okay.
Then I'm okay. I thought this was the actual budget
I thought there was
hearing.
something on juvenile,
Oh, there's increase.
Right,
there.
but that's,
Yeah.
we know what that's about.
well, yeah, but I mean, he has to justify why you're.
That's not my budget.
No.
I can tell you what it is. It's
Bob Lincoln's.
Oh, that's Bob Lincoln, the juvenile department? Okay.
Non-detention.
it's housing Noah Crooks.
Yeah.
That's gonna go on until the end of April. And the judge said, when we had that meeting, he said, you are going April 30th. He said, don't even ask for a continuance anyway, because it's going. I might have said that before, but it's hard to believe they've got murder trials scheduled for every month. They want one a month, and so that's the one for April. They've got them scheduled for January, February, March, April, and May.
Mark, do we have a venue on that yet?
No, but I'd be willing to bet it's going to be either Webster City or Fort Dodge. That's my guess. That's just a guess, but I know he won't go east, I know he won't go west, I know he'll go south, and it's just a question of how far south he'll want to go. And I think he'll want it to get into a bigger county,
Sure.
so that's my guess.
So is it up to Greg then to pick him up and take him to the court and that, if he's down there, or is it up to their, just?
Well,
curious?
right now, we have to provide transportation. Juvenile, it doesn't cost the county anything. Juvenile Court Services provides all the transportation. But I'm assuming what's gonna happen, once he actually goes to trial, they'll remit him to your custody, and then you'll be in charge of, and we can house him here. We're licensed, but I don't know if you wanna drive back and forth.
Well, I'd rather not, it depends
Yeah.
on the location, that it,
Mhm.
murder trial's set at, I'll coordinate with that sheriff
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
And
The amazing thing is, the Attorney General, who try these cases, says, we'll try this, we'll pick a jury, we'll try it in 4 days,
well, that's good.
so. And we're having a hearing within, I don't remember, the next couple of weeks. I've got that application on file for payment of expert witness fees, and I refiled it, and judge says, you need to wait until everything's over. And I said, no, I don't. I can file it anytime. So we're having a hearing on whether we get reimbursed for those, and if so, when, so. But that was about, what, $8,000-10,000. And that was just the reports, now we gotta bring them out for trial. But you don't have any choice. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
Quiet,
What's that?
it's quiet.
Well, relatively. Aaron tried a case, I don't know if you knew that, out at the CRC, operating while intoxicated last week, so. It's a different experience, it's just like this, they're all level. They just tried it in the hallway.
My understanding was when they were interviewing prospective jurors, that the acoustics was really bad. Some of these older folks really couldn't hear what, because like you say, down in the hallway, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned.
But it
I mean,
seemed to work, I mean, it's better than nothing. Because in a criminal trial, you have to try them in the county they're a resident, or where the crime is committed. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
I call you on that previously, just.
Okay, I'll try and call the ombudsman and see what they say. I do it.
Next is approve a 10-year extension to Riceville Enterprise Zone EZ1. The Enterprise Zone Commission met Friday morning, and this is one of the first zones that will be coming up for having a 10-year life. We can, like I say, renew it for another 10 years. This is what gives us a lot of advantages over other counties, because we are, an enterprise zone. We can offer some benefits that otherwise wouldn't be able to be offered to industry, some of those people. So the Enterprise Zone Commission recommended that we approve of this, so
I will make that motion to approve the 10-year extension to the Riceville Enterprise Zone.
I'll second.
it's been moved and seconded. Further discussion.
Seems to be that there will be a few more of these coming along over the years that we'll be doing this again, so.
Yeah, in March, we'll probably have 5 or 6 of these homes that,
And the one thing is too, that was brought up, that you can extend the present zone. These zones can still be moved around. Yep. It's good that we extend.
any other discussion? Hearing none, Morale.
Aye.
Oaklander.
Aye.
Watt, aye, motion carried. The minutes, we all got a copy, what they were sent to us electronically.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I will second.
Been moved and second, we approve the minutes. Further discussion. Hearing none, Oaklander.
Aye.
Morale.
Aye.
Watt, aye, motion carried. Public hearing is 9:30, and cannot approve the resolution until we have the public hearing, so we're down to meetings attended.
CSS, we had our meeting on Wednesday, and we had 3 more counties. Now we're up to 21 counties. Winneshiek, Clayton, and Almaquee, and they'll come on effective April 1st. And then it was regular, normal business, approved, expenditures and finances. And the finances, we're still looking at probably a $7 million carryover. So then the next was our juvenile detention down in Waterloo. Got congratulated by Bob Amundson. He says we finally moved ahead of Saragordo County in the number of inmates. Anyway, we got, Mitchell County has 2 in there now. And the detention center is no longer losing money. In fact, this fiscal year, they're at $216,000 in black, which is good. And that part of that has to do with the county the Crisis Intervention Center, which half of the detention center went over to that, and Bob, that's part of the CSS now, and that's making money. Next meeting was the enterprise zone that you and I sat on, and we had done just exactly what we did there, and then right after that, I had economic development, and that was, we approved the budget for fiscal year 14, and we also, Krista is going to work on a part-time basis for the economic development, so many hours a day, 3 days a week. And then she's gonna also take over the mentoring.
Right, Ray.
Right, but she's still gonna, and we're gonna try this for 6 months, see if it works out. If it works out for all parties, then fine. And then Harlan is going to take over the RLFs for the Mitchell County Economic Development, keeping track of all those. And my other meeting was the Wapsie Trail that Stan attended last night at Adams. And I was surprised at how many people up there are really, they're really in favor of this trail. And it was also in the Minnesota State Legislature. It recorded it. What was that?
I think in 1991, or it was in the 90s anyway.
Right, that the Shooting Star Trail will connect with Riceville. And they have every intention of doing that. Everything boils down to money, and
Always.
the one guy said that if the state had given them $1 million and they had the land, they could have had the whole trail from all the way from Leroy to Austin done for as little as $1 million. But it's just,
Piece at a time.
yeah, too many hurdles to go through, so that was pretty much all my meetings.
Yeah, and apparently how that operates up there is that they must have to put in requests to the legislature every year for, and the legislature must bond for various projects. And, I mean, be it the universities, be it whatever, and trails is part of the bonding. And so whatever they decide how much to bond for, well, then if there was a request and the governor and that had it in there and signs it, well, then they get their money to, and if it isn't, why, I don't know, but they do have condemnation authority, I do know that up there. And the other thing that we're gonna try to set up a meeting with the Moore County Board of it's county commissioners, and to see their take on this, see what they could do up in Moore County to assist on bringing that trail down.
Because that will be Moore County, it'll all be in Moore County, the remainder, I think 4 miles or so.
Right. And apparently they could come right next to Highway 9. They got a Highway 9 that runs north and south. And so that's what they would like to talk about. And so I'll try to set that meeting up. Maybe we can get it like at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. We'd have to leave here at 10 o'clock at the latest, I suppose, but we could get up there and visit with them. So I'll work on that. Richard, you want to, yeah.
I got a whole stack, so might as well get Rich in here.
Okay, glad you showed up today.
Why wouldn't I?
Well, you didn't last week.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Let's start off with one thing first. Title VI.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. You want to sign the paperwork? We'll get it done and get it over with, because we need to get it out of here. Otherwise, we're gonna be fighting over money.
You need a motion to approve?
You guys are gonna have to appoint somebody.
What we did last week.
Did you? Well, good, then I was thinking ahead.
What was the guy's name, Rich Strong?
Yeah, nobody argued in Worth County either. I barely got the words out of my mouth, and I had a motion in a second.
And nobody opposed either.
No, I didn't hear anybody say, oh, well, let's think about
Mom's
it.
unanimous.
Well, if we want funding, that's what we gotta do. It's gonna be a little bit more work on my shoulders to get things set up, but this is where we've gotta go.
Well, there's an old saying, delegate, delegate, delegate.
Yeah, that's hard to do sometimes. I think you gotta have control over everything. I have a hard time with that.
Like Mo slaps Larry and Larry slaps Curly, and then Curly turns around, there's nobody there.
Yeah.
You run out of people to delegate to.
So,
So what do you say, we start calling him Curly?
the hair's going, so I'm getting closer.
Yeah, it's hard to grow brains and hair both, isn't it?
All right, keep signing.
What are these, that he signed?
That is the agreement for the DOT, saying we're gonna comply with Title VI on all of our projects, and it's mostly, this is mostly for secondary roads, but now, once we get this pushed through, the DOT looks at it, then I gotta start working on the plan. And then these assurances that are in here are all stuff that we've gotta now apply to any projects that we do in secondary roads. And it will go beyond secondary roads, I think, if you guys, when and if you guys decide to do, and I don't wanna speak out and say the wrong thing. It's under my assumption that, say you guys do a courthouse project and you're using public dollars, I think this also applies, so, and it's basically contracting and everything else.
Yeah, there's
But-
other laws.
But we already have those laws in effect,
We do.
so,
Just another layer.
it's just
Yeah.
something, so, anyway.
So basically, we needed a motion to allow the chair to sign the Title VI
Well-
documents for you, or
You guys, being the head of the county, are accepting this document and appointing me as the administrator of Title VI.
okay,
Need a motion on that?
I think we done that last week.
Okay.
yeah, all
We
right.
took care of that last week.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, thank you. Other than that,
Tongue in cheek.
it's pretty, last week was a pretty short week for me, and I know that we didn't have a whole lot going on until the ice came on Sunday. I think the guys did a knock-up job on Sunday trying to keep it ahead of everything, and then yesterday, they got the gravels all worked out, and then we finally got some rain, so there's really nothing left.
Yeah.
So, I'll just wait for the storm tonight,
When's that supposed to hit?
after midnight.
Oh,
2 to 5.
2 to 5? Oh,
Yeah.
in the morning.
Inches.
Yeah.
Oh, 2
2
to 5
inches.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
When's it, okay.
Between 2 and
I
5
got
in
a
the
meeting
morning.
tonight in Mason, and it's usually one of those long drag out things, you know,
Um,
5 inches.
5 inches, all right.
So we're filling our day today with hauling material, sand, salt mix, getting sand from the quarry, putting our outline shops, filling them back up after this last week of it, so. We're progressing on everything, the Hickory Bridge, we've got the preliminary plans done, so we're gonna present them or send them down to DNR and Corps.
DOT, or do you?
DOT did the drainage analysis already, and then now we've gotta send it to the DNR and the Corps for their review.
Since it's a trout stream, is that why?
Since it's, since it's a protected water, that's the head of the protected waters for that trout stream. Another mile to the east, we probably wouldn't have to mess with them,
Okay.
but also we are taking the bridge out and putting the box culvert in, so it probably won't amount to anything, it's a matter of when it gets put on their stack to review, so. I haven't heard much on the land in San Answer for the county shed, but I'm working on those plans. I did I contacted a crane company because I want to put an overhead hoist in there. And I want to put it similar to what's in Osage because it seems to be handy when you can swivel that, so I'm kind of changing the layout a little bit on that, but the preliminary estimate, I emailed them what the cost of a crane like that would cost. We're looking at up to, without the concrete footing and everything, just the crane shipped into us is about $15,000, so.
Pretty nice crane.
Well, when you wanna haul, when you wanna be able to lift, I think the one we've got now is a 4-ton crane with a 3-ton hoist on it. And, I got something almost exactly identical to it, and I think that one probably costs about the same amount of money. So, but it's gonna be handy up there when we get that shop done. I think that shop's gonna have more room than, obviously Stacyville. Stacyville's kinda cramped, but I want the guys to be able to work in there too. They can put their sewing equipment on in that shop. We got.
You're gonna have one more unit up there then.
And we're gonna put one more unit. That's gonna have it's the 4 stalls and then an alley is what I'm trying to work in there. So they've got a place to back in the loader in the truck, and they still got a place that, Phil's a pretty good welder. If we wanna manufacture something, we can put him in there, and he's got plenty of room to work, so. We've been fighting with,
I don't wanna say fighting, I guess, we've been having some difficulties with the gas company in Sansker. The Black Hills Energy's been threatening us to cut off our power because of the way they bill and the way our cycles are for claims. They only give us a 15-day window for getting the bill and paying it. Well, that doesn't always match our claim sessions. In fact, the last bill we got the day after claims were due, and they give us 15 days, well, it takes another 2 weeks to get it in the claim session. And so,
Well, isn't there
So
something?
you have to do handwritten?
They can't cut your power, they can't cut
well,
your gas off.
I
this
called
time
them
of
and I
year.
was gonna be really mean to them, but they were really cooperative, so couldn't get mad. But we've got everything worked out, so we aren't gonna get shut off today like they said they would. But I just get frustrated, and they said, well, it's all computer generated, and I said, well, great, can't you put something in your computer saying these guys are paying their bill? Other than, it's just you know, everything, everybody changed from 30 days to 15 days, and that, we get those all the time, that if you're not gonna pay this, or you start seeing the fees, well, we're not gonna pay the fees, so anyway.
I'm on the Community Action Board, I could probably sign you up for fuel assistance.
Wow. How was that look? I already kinda considered it. Anyway, so, I got word today, I was talking to Lindsay Falk about it, I was trying to get you guys a McAdams phone number, he didn't get his email, so I called him today. You guys were asking about a more detailed estimate on the McAdam base, I heard you guys talking about the trail when I came in. The numbers I gave you last week were numbers from a Howard County project last year that they did the McAdam base, they didn't do it. They had Bruning Rock out of Cora do it. And the estimate I put together was a little bit higher based on the size of the project. We're talking 3/4 of a mile, they were doing 3 miles. So I inflated our numbers a bit because quantities are a lot lower than what they did. Now, you emailed me and wanted me to break it down a little bit tighter, and the only thing I can really do is say, okay, the rock is gonna run, for an estimated purpose, the macadam stone's gonna run us $8 a ton, the choke stone's probably gonna run us $8 a ton. The rest of that $15 is hauling and placing. But to place the macadam, the DOT has their spec is you gotta have a placer, and I haven't seen a placer, I know Howard County has one, but most people that do it have I don't know if they dump it in front of the dozer or the motor grader, and I don't know if it's got, I haven't seen one, but I don't know why you couldn't place with a dozer, but it's wider than the machine itself, and it spreads the rock to a certain width uniformly, and then you gotta roll it, compact it, everything else, so I figured what better to estimate with is to use a contracted price, because we're gonna be within the same ballpark if we do it ourselves, which we don't have all the equipment to do it ourselves, we'd have to rent it. On top of that, I think when I sent you the quote, it said does not include any core out. That road is 25 feet wide at its widest point, coming down to the south and going to the east. I kinda went out there and measured it. And, along with that, we've got some pretty deep ditches with the drainage. And if we're talking about raising that road 15 inches and then trying to keep our side slopes at a 2-to-1 at least, we're gonna end up filling some ditching. So I thought, well, if we core out, we can kinda keep everything the same. And if we drop down, maybe we get a little bit more width out of it. But coring out 15 inches, that takes some time too.
Do we really need a ditch?
What's that?
Do you really need a ditch?
You will in that area.
Just let it go wherever it goes.
What's that? The water? Do you know where
I know where we're talking.
So, anyway,
It'll just take its natural course wherever.
so, I mean, we could probably do a little ditch shaping there anyway, because over time our roads the ditches do get a little steep, but we'd be shaping up this
They
side
don't wanna give
slopes.
us any headland anywhere.
Yeah,
You know, when it comes down to it, I mean, and that's the only, unless we go around the mile somehow to get there, but that would be stupid. You know, maybe these folks up there need to realize that, you know, we could fill the ditch in and make our trail. Couldn't we?
that,
I don't think so
Not
on that,
there.
because that's
That's a waterway there.
designated waterway there.
On one side or the other, isn't it?
it crosses over.
It
Well,
does cross
Cross
over.
back where I know.
But,
I'd have to take a closer look at it. but-
well, and there's nothing saying we can't straighten up our side slopes a little bit. We aren't gonna be, if we were gonna do anything there, we wouldn't be detrimentally affecting that drainage water, the waterway there. It's just a matter of we're gonna reestablish our side slopes. And coring out would give us a little bit more room to do that. Then the question is, what do we do with the core out material? We don't use it all on the shoulders, but we could also put it on the McIntyre Road there, where we try to get material pulled out. We can keep shouldering that, so we've got a close haul if we were gonna do something like that.
What's our right of way?
There, I think that's a 66-foot right of way.
So we have 66 foot to work with, regardless of whether the road is 25 foot wide.
True.
Okay.
You come up with about 145,000 for,
That was just
just roughly, but
if we were gonna place on top of what's there and seal
Yeah.
coat.
what would it take just 3 inches of blacktop?
I never put that estimate together. I can put a number together for that.
Well, I
But
was just
also-
thinking, you know, you wouldn't raise the road up, you wouldn't be doing all
True.
this core out, you wouldn't be doing, you know, so it might not be.
The only question is do we have enough, is the structure on that gravel road good enough to take 4 inches of asphalt?
Right,
And that's why we would use the
Use
macadams to
macadam,
give us
right.
the structure.
yeah.
Cause I know we do have a stretch in there on the east-west side from that intersection going towards Bailey that we got some really bad frost boils in. And we really would need to take care of before we do anything. So, I can get a number and see what 4 inches would take, but I don't think it's gonna be, and, well,
Paying
okay.
cheaper, well,
Well, now, also talking this morning, Matthew is got the contract for 218 from Osage south to Floyd. They're gonna be sitting in the Wagner quarry doing that project this year, that I guess they're in the area. I know it's kind of a long haul from Wagner quarry up to McIntyre and Bailey, but
Good idea.
there's an asphalt paver in the area.
Well, looking at the map last night when we had that meeting, you know, and if we was thinking, you know, this would be, I don't know what street that is, going north to
North and south is Valley.
Valley, okay?
yeah.
And this is Bailey here. Well, if you looked at the map, and the wind tower's going like that, well, if we'd have talked to those wind people, and they could have put those wind towers going like this, we could have used their little trail. You know,
Well,
the farmers didn't have a problem with that.
I thought about that too. Those, I don't know if that's an option to, I know that it's private property, but if there's already an easement there,
Is it right Howard Road?
well, we're brainstorming, we're trying to find out.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't, they would probably not want it because they're gonna have, if something goes down, they've got a heavy crane that sits there and
that's true too.
they're gonna have, I don't think their traffic is that much, but so you shut the trail down for a while if they've got a maintenance problem on.
Well, the biggest problem, you know, is this, you know, you got 5 vehicles a day.
Well, in addition to the wind tower stuff though, they've got all their tractors and grain wagons and stuff on those roads that you're gonna have to, it's private. So if you get an easement though, will they allow it?
But right now, you've got bicycles running on T30, or T26
Yep.
that,
They're supposed to ride bikes around this march.
you know, and T26 is your second heaviest county road in,
No, I'm right.
so, you know, I can't get too excited about a few
No,
tractors and,
well, true. Because it's a couple, you know, it's a seasonal thing with the tractors, but it's just a matter of, if you're putting a trail there, you gotta design it for those type of loads, or you're just
Right, you gotta have the
throw
load.
good money at nothing, so.
Well, what they brought up last night up there is that in the towns and the cities or whatever, they clean those trails in the wintertime because people still walk them.
That's true, I think they do, yeah. And I don't know if does Milt sweep his in the wintertime, because I think people walk on those too.
I think a little bit by Riceville, but I don't think too far out. I mean, they're being realistic about it. I
Right,
mean,
you're
you know,
not gonna
they're
walk
gonna
to
clean the whole,
McIntyre.
yeah, they're gonna walk to McIntyre.
But
I know some people have been out, when we were out, when I was looking at it with Milt, there were people jogging on that south stretch from McIntyre, and they were coming from the Riceville way. I don't know where they jumped on the trail at, but I didn't know if Milt kept it open in the wintertime, or maintained it in the wintertime.
They don't let snowmobiles on there.
No, they don't. So,
something we gotta keep looking at, yeah. Figure out a way.
I can put some rough numbers together for each of me if you'd like.
Well, those bubble patches we had done on, Stillwater and by New Haven, we did those 10 million diesel mix bubble patches. Those never broke up.
I don't work down there for very long either, but, right, I understand what you're saying.
Pretty nice material.
It's more than just the bubble patch though, it's what's underneath it. And I know it wasn't much, but there was still some structure there, and I think most of those problems were it deteriorated enough that the moisture was getting in there and not letting it stabilize, and once you kept the moisture out, you had some structure back. Which, on the gravel road, if you're gonna put asphalt over the top of it, you're gonna keep the moisture out, at least in that area. Maybe it alleviates some of the problem, but I'm not comfortable putting 4 inches of asphalt on the existing gravel road without doing some base work.
Those places where we had, did our little
Yep,
test,
yep.
will this be a good year for that?
I'm thinking it might. We've got some moisture in the ground. Last year, I don't think we got much moisture in the ground. We'll see. I mean, I know where they're at. You can kind of still see them on the road yet when you drive, but.
Because we've had that freeze thaw, and now we're getting rain now.
Mhm.
What, the high on Thursday's gonna be what, 4 or something, 5, so.
It's a matter of how much moisture we get in the ground though.
Yeah.
We did, I took a cruise on the river road I don't remember if it was last week once. We put that patching down the river road and that belly blades are tearing that up. I think we gotta look at that this spring. It kind of put like more of a leveling course on it. And some of the places were really foliated. I think we only got like an inch up there and the belly blades kind of tore it up. So we'll see if it was bonded well or if it's just that it got that thin. So I noticed that road is, driving it right now, is more rough than it usually is in the summertime. So I don't know if there's some frost action going on underneath there with the freeze thaw cycles we've seen this year already or not.
When was that road put down? That was in what?
Well, we
90s or?
put that down, didn't we put that down in around 2001?
Yeah, because it was, and then it was resurfaced. Between 9 and Mitchell, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it had been, and then it was resurfaced.
And we've got a few floods in there.
Mm-hmm.
And just to keep you up on
Yeah, somewhere in that time frame.
that. Anything else?
I think, go ahead. Going up to Adams last night, right before you get to the state line, if I was looking at that correctly, the road turns to the right, the arrow was turning a little to the left.
Which road were you on, Monument, North Statesville?
Monument, yeah, right before you get to the state line.
The road curves to the right?
Yeah, you're,
Okay.
uh-huh. But our curve arrow was not curving to the right.
Really?
I didn't-
Oh,
I
look at
don't
it.
pay attention, I know where I'm going.
Well,
I done it all the time, I mean, well, you take a look at that.
take a look
next time
at
you're
it.
out
That doesn't seem right.
there.
but
I know it doesn't seem right, but it,
I'll look at it.
Somebody's turning our signs for us. probably.
Well, you never know. If they steal them, why can't they turn them?
Yeah.
I think you need to have a little safety talk with your machine operators out there. Individual almost had a maintainer that backed onto Walnut yesterday. They never looked either direction as they backed over halfway across Walnut to the maintainer and then went back onto the gravel.
Okay.
Just give them, every now and then, we used to have a safety talk every Friday morning at the post office, just 5 minutes.
Yeah, we had a safety meeting while we discussed safety at our snow hearing, or snow meeting we had, but that was that north of McIntyre then, or in McIntyre?
The first road south of McIntyre going west, I think that's what, 460th maybe? Anyway, the maintainer just backed right out onto Walnut.
And being foggy out, or was that yesterday you said?
Yeah,
Okay.
another 10 seconds or less, it would have been an accident, so. Just give them a heads up to be
Yep.
sure they look when they do that kind of stuff, no matter.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't have anything, Rick.
Okay. We'll continue brush cutting when the snow stops.
What do you do with the brush? Just leave it in the ditch?
We typically burn it. I know there's some brush out there that hasn't been burned yet. I know there's some brush out there that's not ours.
Well,
Power
I was
companies.
driving the other day, but going through I see one of the counties has a chipper.
Yeah, we had a chipper.
What happened to it?
It wasn't safe.
There were no guards on it.
Oh.
We departed with that a few years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jim, I
can't
think,
remember
was still here.
yeah.
Ever thought about getting another one? Or don't we have that much brush left?
Thought about it. And you're just doing blow it in the ditch, which isn't a big deal anyway. We could blow it in a truck, but then you get
I just blow it, but these guys just blow
they
it
blow
in
it
the
in the
ditch.
ditch. I know Worth County does that too.
Maybe not, I don't know if that's where it's caught or not.
We
but-
burn some and we chip some depending on the size of the brush.
Oh, safer, chipping it or burning
Depends on how cold it is out.
it? That too.
Well, if the wood is green or, yeah.
Yeah.
I told you the story about the crew down one of the counties, southern part of the counties that set the brush on fire and went down the road, cut some more and came back, the barn was on fire, they had to run in, push the antique tractors out and.
That's really good.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Mr.
Rich.
have a good week. They're all good, right?
They're all good.
I hear you.
Okay, let's continue with meetings attended.
Last Wednesday, I had the NIVIC Public Relations Marketing Committee meeting. Continue to focus on their mission. They formed a new partnership with Express Services, which resulted in 10 new positions at Crescent Park, which is Kraft Foods. Follow up on the other meetings, the other issues there. The Christmas party was a big success. They had it at the Clarion Inn. It's been served-
Oh, 6-6, Rich,
Yep.
you're getting a budget amendment too, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're gonna be back here at 9:30?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The Christmas party was a big success. It was held at the Clarion Inn. There was a little goof up on the food situation, so Clarion Inn deducted $500 off of the cost, and they want the business for next year, so they deducted $500 off the cost for next year too, so. Heating and air conditioning project is almost completed. Went over the profit and loss, financials, assembly and packaging, scanning work levels are under budget. Wood shop, the cost of wood's going up, so they're over budget a little bit. Sales have dipped a little. What else did we talk about? Portables on First is struggling, they're not getting the donations and things like that. Job development, they've had 46 placements in the past fiscal year. They're working on the grants. Lisa Unick is working on the grant situation. Dancing for the Dream this year will be held at the Surf Ballroom on March 2nd. Last Wednesday evening, I had the Metro County E911 Service Board meeting. It was basically public hearing to approve their budget for the new year and elect officers. One thing that was brought up was if people change from a line phone to a cell phone and still keep their same phone number, that 911, if they call 911, then they can't locate them. So if you know anybody that's in that situation, inform them of that. And following that meeting, we had the emergency management meeting, which was also about the same thing, approving the budget for the new year and electing officers. Discussion on some upcoming dates for hazmat training. Hazmat training in St. Ansgar, January 19th, 21st, and 23rd. Spotter training is March 12th. There's going to be a program at the CRC on March 5th. And let's see, it's about, we had about 1,000 handouts. It's on child abduction and child abuse. Be a free training on March 5th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Cedar River Complex. It's called Ryan's United Education and Outreach Program on child abduction. The individual presenting this actually had a son, 8-year-old son, who was kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and murdered by a repeat sex offender. Other training coming up, emergency management training will be, the meeting that was postponed, that will be on February 28th here. And Thursday morning, or Thursday noon, we had the Mitchell County Board of Health Advisory Board meeting. We reviewed the policies, all the policies of personnel policy and the agency policies, making some changes, deleting and then adding some things. Much of it was just some minor word changes, deleting programs that were no longer applicable to the business. Following that, we had the Mitchell County Board of Health meeting, and they reported, went over the financials, and the revenues are at, this is about half of the year, we're at just at half of the year, fiscal year now. Revenues are 64.8%, expenses are at 51%. Just had to approve all of the policy changes, and they, Levon reported they gave 100 more doses of flu vaccine in the last week. People are getting a little more nervous. OMU donated $1,000 for one of the vaccines for the daycare providers. It's called Tdap, tetanus, diphtheria, I forget what else, pneumonia. But anyway, the 30 doses of that for the daycare providers. They also got the local public health services grant for $40,000, and that's to help pay for services as it can only bill for the actual costs. Milt Olin retirement party on Friday. Last night I had the Riceville Community Club meeting in Riceville. Had updates on the, there was no meeting in December, so they had the update on the breakfast with Santa and the community club pancake breakfast. Darlene Seidel told about the grant submissions for the project they want to do at the park there, updating the tennis courts and putting in basketball hoops and things like that. They received a $4,300 grant from Wisconsin Power Service, and they have a request into FEMC for $5,000. Total project will be about $17,000. Planning on having live music at the community center sometime in March, pending on when we can get the band down here from Minneapolis to play. And that was my
Okay, step increase was noted for Amy Kretzbach from 1977 to 2044. Mitchell County Compensation Commission,
Yeah, just, we kind of tabled that earlier in the month. We added, owner of city or town property duty both under and persons not having knowledge of property values, Bob Moore. Do you have any others you want?
How many do we have to have on each one?
Well, we're still a little short. We should have 28, but sometimes we don't.
28 people on,
Total,
oh,
out of the 4 categories.
you gave us all a copy of that.
Yeah.
All right. We know, I'll look through mine and
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
names.
so noted so far.
Okay.
It is 9:30, it's time for the public hearing to amend the fiscal year 2013 Mitchell County budget. I will open the public hearing. Basically, what is being asked for is revenues. $10,000 is being asked to add to Veterans Affairs, $225,607 to the Conservation Department, $2,418,724 to non-departmental department, and expenditures. The increase to $39,947 to the Juvenile Department, an increase of expenses of $220,187 to the Conservation Department, an increase of spending of $340,000 to the Secondary Roads Department, and an increase of $1,150,000 to the non-departmental department. Supervisors, have you had any comments, written or oral?
I received none.
Not received any either.
County Auditor Tesh,
No, none.
Deputy Auditor Baldwin, did you receive any? I have received none. We'll open this part of the hearing to the public. Does the public want to comment, pro or con?
I have a question. Number 24, increase cost for VBC facility. So there was a total expense then of $2.3 million then for that project. Is there any offsetting revenue for that? That miscellaneous 1.4 million, is that offsetting revenue?
Yes.
That's the
That's the
offsetting.
money we borrowed to go towards the facility.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I wanted to ask
Yeah.
that. Okay,
But I have to apply it into different funds, so,
okay.
and it wasn't in the budget, so.
Yep, I thought that was, so I was asking if that was
Yeah.
offsetting some of that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, is there anything in here being amended for expenses for the courthouse move?
Not yet,
Not yet?
no. Well, we have moving expenses and stuff, and that I did put in the budget now, I guess.
Okay. So line 11, use of money and property, 218,000 for revenue. What is revenue from what?
That 219.
Yeah, on line 11.
Some that's from conservation.
Okay,
I think that was land revenue,
okay.
and then there's this, isn't much.
Okay, that's fine. That was conservation money. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have.
Yeah, so why was the increase in the roads there, 340? Rich is here, we gotta ask him a question.
Yeah, that's fine. We, looking at the department, bridges and culverts, we purchased a lot of large diameter pipe this year for inventory, which kind of put us above and running us pretty close. We were at 95% of our budget at the time of the amendment, and we were maybe 50% through the year. So we've got a lot of pipe in the inventory that we need to use up, plus we've already placed a lot of pipe in the ground. That's where that increase came from. We have our normal operating budget, I increased by $200,000, just because, once again, we were more than 60% through our budgeted amount, but not 60% through the year. I want to make sure I don't need to amend again toward the end of the year. There were some other things. The road clearing, it's always a toss-up. I budgeted a little bit, I budgeted less, 60,000, I think, for, road clearing. Let me look here to make sure I'm not telling you a wrong number. Last year was $60,000 in road clearing, which is mowing and brush cutting. Well, the winters can determine whether that is. We're running high on that again because the winter's been pretty mild and we're out cutting brush. So it's a matter of the dollars get switched around, but as far as the DOT goes, I'd like to have my categories in line so I don't have to ask for an amendment later on in the year. New equipment, that went up by $20,000. We purchased a new mower tractor to replace the one that got hit in July, and we are in the process of purchasing a service truck that puts me a little bit over my limit in that budget item, plus I wanted a little extra in case we decide that we need to upgrade another mower. So those are the increases, I believe, that I put in there for this session.
Any other questions? If not, we'll close the public hearing at 9:37. We have down here approved appropriations resolution 854-13. I see the one that we have here says 853.
It should be 4.
Okay, so we'll make that correction. Resolution 854-13 basically says, whereas it is desired to make appropriations for the various departments, as per the budget amendment at this time, it was the various revenues that I mentioned earlier, the various expenses I mentioned earlier, and we can either approve of it or not. Gentlemen, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the chair signing the resolution 854-13.
I'll second.
Been moved and second that the chair signs resolution we approve and the chair signs resolution 854-13. Further discussion? Hearing none, Morel.
Aye.
Volkman.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried. Item 8A, county care request. Department heads want to stay, you can, otherwise,
See you guys later.
Thanks for coming.
here, I thought you'd want to stay and be,
Keep enough going on up here.
Well, we had a meeting yesterday on, I don't know if any of you fellas have gone over the county care budget proposal for fiscal year 14. Well, that was what kind of started it all. And then we had Bob Lincoln here. And they have, I don't know how to get them to where they need to get, but we almost need to put $50,000 in their fund because they're broke. But they didn't have enough operating capital to start their business, so to speak, out there. As you know, a couple of years ago or a year ago, they became a
program.
Yep, they became a standalone entity. And at that time, I believe we put in $100,000 to get them going. Well, it seems to be there's too big a lag time between the time that you send in your the waiver money, to get the waiver money, and then by the time the waiver money comes back. So
It's their billing cycle, they're not billing it fast enough. or-
that's the way it looks. And then just going through their budget, you know, well, a couple of the items that she had building repairs, you know, and she's put $500 in each line, that, furnace and air conditioner, and equipment repairs. Well, she's way over that. But yet, she doesn't, with the Medicaid things, you have to spend it to get it back. And their cost reports, see, none of that was ever put into those, but those are expenditures that she has to have.
And she needs to get those expenditures in So they can figure it into the cost report.
So she gets reimbursed.
Reimbursed
Right,
more
on
than,
the daily amount that they can charge for services out there. It's kind of a screwy deal, but now going forward, what we discussed yesterday with Bob, if we put this 50,000 in, every month when we go out there, we are to ask them where they are on their billing and the revenues, because they should be able to sometime pay us back. You know,
Well, and like Bob said, they can also put that in the cost report.
right,
So if they don't get that money, and then at the end of the year, they can get that.
because everything out there they do is
Reimbursed.
Medicaid reimbursed or Medicare reimbursed or whatever, I mean, and so, but it's just gonna be a,
isn't Medicare or Medicaid reducing their,
Do we actually have to do a budget amendment for them too at some point in time then, or no?
Well,
Or is this just
No.
a transfer of funds from?
yeah, this is just to put some money in for them.
So how much do we have left in our one-cent option sales tax? Or we,
I think that's at 400 and some. 440, I think, last I looked.
we get about, what, 42,000 a month?
If it is,
Around 30.
here pretty soon it'll drop for a quarter.
If the state needs money or not.
Oh, they withhold it.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a
They shouldn't need any money, they said they got $800 million surplus.
talk about backfilling a couple $100,000.
So anyway, I guess it's our responsibility too, to go out there monthly and to, rather than to listen to, you know, we need to be looking at their budget, you know, and,
Peggy called yesterday, and it was next Tuesday, she'd like to meet,
yeah, then we need to go out there next
because it's been a while again.
Yeah, and then was it the Medicare or Medicaid surveyor said we should be needing more often?
At least monthly.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's in the code.
I don't know about that.
Well, I think.
It probably is.
so what is your recommendation, Supervisor Voigtlander?
Barb and I talked about it, and we said, let's start with the 50,000, I don't wanna, you know,
Yeah,
now it's
start.
150,000 that they owe the county, and we need to get that somehow on their, in that cost report, that they need to be making that payment back to the county.
And hopefully get up a reserve to,
And, right, I'd like to see them have it, you should have at least 3 months operating capital, well, 3 months is 150,000, you know, and they need to have that reserve also,
I
so.
think that we talk about also maybe raising the rate again. Because
Right.
we just did it the first year, and
Right.
Bob talked, there was room to.
To move that up, and they need to, I mean, that's just, he says they need to look at that as a business, not as that they're on the county dole, you know, I mean,
Right.
it is a business now, and I guess that's part of their problem out there, I don't know,
I think they had changed the way of thinking.
but, yep, that's what I,
It's the hard
Well, is Peggy the one that's basically supposed to be overseeing this, or does she have somebody else that really is, or is it?
the director,
Randy and Bob's overseeing her kinda to make sure they're doing the federal, you know, state,
And
whatever.
Pat works with the waiver a lot.
yep.
Two waivers, that ID and the HAB.
Well, I think there's 3 capable people there, but they all need to start working together and they start to need,
That's
figure
what
out what's going
I
on.
could sense yesterday, there's a lack of,
And maybe when we go out, maybe you need to ride along, you know,
Yep.
'cause you,
yeah, cause I can show her what, I was gonna give her new budget figures anyway and stuff from what we talked and,
well, the one thing too that they had problem with, is, you know, and we've seen this, you know, we put in new boilers how many years ago? We put in,
Very long ago.
Couple
no,
years
Couple
ago.
years at the
well, one of
most.
them evidently malfunctioned and that cost the county $1,500. Evidently, there's no warranty on it. What else was it? Oh, the dishwasher, you know, we had
Yeah, it was
probably $7,000.
$7,000.
Well, you know, that needs to be in her
Cost report.
cost report.
So she gets,
And I think it is, but,
yeah, it's in there.
but see,
But
these
that's
are
what-
things that she can't really, how do you, you know, nobody has a crystal ball on that either, you know?
Mhm.
So what should she be putting down? Well, then you start looking at the facility. How many more years before you need a new roof on that? You know?
It was built in the 50s, I think.
Yeah, but, yeah, it was 57, but that roof is, I think, believe Clarence Brown put a new roof structure trusses and, you know,
Yeah,
because
pitched
they,
roof with,
yeah.
and
But-
insulation in there.
But I'm thinking those shingles have gotta be
They're probably 20
reaching the
years old.
end of there, so
Like you said yesterday, that farmland, maybe that should be
that's,
rented out and some money coming towards the care
Those-
facility.
those trees aren't getting us a thing out there. I mean,
Yeah, at least they could be apple trees and they.
well, turn into something, but, you know, I talked to them about one time, that has to be in row crops for so many years, then you can put it into CRP, which would be not necessarily going to them, but it would be going back to the general fund. You know, I mean, we're not, there's nothing out there, other than skunks and, you know, I told Randy to quit feeding the skunks, so they don't bother them. Anyway, I guess you want a motion to approve moving $50,000 to
Please.
county care, I'd make that motion. We gotta do something, we can't.
I will second that motion.
It's been moved and second, we move $50,000 into the county care budget. Further discussion? Hearing none, Volklander.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Lot, and motion carried. If there is nothing else for the good of the cause, we will stand adjourned, and 10 o'clock we will hold the assessors conference board.